I went to West Virginia first, and then I decided to go to Pennsylvania, okay? And I feel like there was a reason for that. There was something that was calling me to do that, okay? The place where I landed in Pennsylvania, that area was actually synonymous with 9/11, okay? So don't dishonor or disrespect the lives that were taken on that day, or the lives that were lost in this story that I'm about to tell you, because I firmly believe that something led me to West Virginia first. Terrorism is not a joke, okay? The things that are being said online about 9/11, and you think that the government is sitting here trying to come against you, trying to attack your livelihood, trying to take the lives of citizens, for what? You think that the government would get involved with war, lose intellectual property, sacrifice its own citizens' lives for something that you think the government did to you? I'm not saying that you can't play the skepticism card, but I need you to understand that with 9/11, it was a terrorist attack on America that failed because of a malfunction. Okay? You can sit there and do inspection after inspection after inspection after inspection. You never know the weight of what is going to happen next. You can know terrorism, but you can never know what it will compel somebody else to do. Alright? And I need you to understand that when I go through this story and when I tell you that I was called to West Virginia first. Okay? I initially wanted to go to Pennsylvania first. Okay? And I felt like something was saying, don't go there first. Go to West Virginia first. Okay? I could have gone anywhere in Pennsylvania. Keep that in mind. I wanted to see the center of Pennsylvania. Okay? I don't know what's in there. So, I went to West Virginia because West Virginia just fell into place a little bit more naturally at that point. Towards the end of my time in West Virginia, okay, I went to Seneca Rocks. Okay. And this is where I want you to start thinking about everything that I'm about to say. And I do not want you to dishonor or disrespect the lives that were lost in this story. Okay? So I went to Seneca Rocks first. And when I was at Seneca Rocks, I had learned, okay, that from 1979, okay, there were 15 people who have died on Seneca Rocks. You know, I didn't really think anything of it at the time, okay? I was just out there, and I was just cautious and mindful of the fact that, okay, this is a dangerous area. I need to be careful. I could lose my life here, okay? And then as I left and I started walking down the hills, okay, it felt like something was drawing my attention to Seneca Rocks, and it was like, hey, you need to understand. You need to look into something that happened here. You need to, like, there is something that is not finished here. You need to look at this. You need to take a look at this. And it just was in my mind. As I was leaving, I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know what this is, alright? And if you don't believe in a higher power, you don't believe in a higher power, okay? But I firmly believe that something was guiding me and leading me to say, you need to, like, there's something unfinished here. There is something unfinished here. So I left. And as I was leaving and I felt this call, okay, that something was unfinished, okay? That's when I said, there is something. In my mind, I was thinking this, okay? If there is something that is left unfinished here, I know that I was led to West Virginia here. okay? I know that there is a reason why I am here. There's a reason why something is calling to my attention. And when that time is ready, and I will come to a place of understanding, okay? And as I went home that night, there was just something that I felt, okay? And it doesn't matter what you think or what you know, okay? But to me, it felt like there was like just something that, it was almost like a female, okay? It just felt like some kind of something relating to a woman, okay? And then on the inside, I was just so, like, at a place of, like, I need to look at the deaths that happen here. Like, I need to understand something. And then I came across one of the people who have died, okay? She was from Pennsylvania, okay? She was a doctor. And she had climbed. She was mountain climbing, okay? But they went through with the procedure, okay? Their normal procedure. They did not know that this rock was loose, okay? So this rock fell. That's how she died, okay? If you don't believe me, go look it up. And she was from Pennsylvania. Now from this point, I want you to understand that I don't think it's me that led me to Pennsylvania, where I wanted to go in Pennsylvania. I believe that it was something that was outside of myself calling me to that place. So I go from her story, okay? Her story where she was in just doing what she wanted to do, living her life, okay? There was a part of the trail that missed an inspection, okay? Something that went unseen. Keep that in mind, okay? And this rock fell and she died. And again, if you don't believe me, go look it up. From there, I go to Pennsylvania. And in this place in Pennsylvania, I have no idea what's in this place. Okay? Not absolutely one thing. I'm sitting here telling you right now, I didn't know that Pennsylvania even related to 9/11. Okay? Listen to me when I say this. You hear about that one plane that never made it. You hear about it. 9/11, I didn't know that 9/11 related to Pennsylvania. I did not know that that plane crashed in a field in Pennsylvania. Let alone, it was in the area that I decided to stay in Pennsylvania. I got there and I started doing research on what I wanted to do, alright? And then I read something about Flight 93 and I was like, okay. Flight 93. Is this a plane that didn't make it in the 9/11 attack? Okay. And I was sitting there and I was like, this is a plane that didn't make it, okay. And after doing my research and reading a little bit, I learned that it was the plane, the only plane that did not make it, okay. This was the plane that only had 4 hijackers, okay. Alright. I'm not thinking about the fact that that woman died in West Virginia. I'm not thinking about it. And then I get to Flight 93 and then I start sitting there. When you get there, okay, you walk into this, you can basically go to the lookout, right? And you go to the lookout and it will explain to you everything and everywhere where everything is. And as I was reading, I realized that this national monument, okay, a national monument that does not need to exist, that only exists because of terrorism, and terrorism that found its way into a system that was not robust enough to catch it at the time, okay? Terrorism that made it through the system, okay? And killed almost 3,000 Americans in America, okay? This memorial that should not have to exist, alright? And what is indicating the crash site? A boulder. A boulder is sitting there indicating this crash site, exactly where Flight 93 crashed on the day of 9/11, with innocent civilians at the hands of people who exploited the American system of safety at the time, okay? And I stood there. I had not gone down to the area yet, okay? And I just stood there. And I looked at it. And then I put it into perspective. This woman who died in West Virginia, I don't know if she's ever been to that monument. And if she has, then I firmly believe that maybe something saw this, okay? If she's been to that monument, I believe that something saw what happened that day, how unjust it was, how unjust, how unfinished it was, how unfinished her life was. It doesn't matter what you believe in, okay? A higher power has spared my life, alright? I've been through some situations in my life, and I'm not gonna get into the details. I'm not gonna sit here and talk about it. But I have made it a mission in my life to tear myself away from those things and still live life, still go on. And there I find myself at Seneca Rocks with an unfinished story. Somebody whose life had been taken just because of a wrong circumstance at the wrong time. And now I find myself in Pennsylvania, face to face with a boulder that sat there and indicated the crash site for Flight 93, okay? And I'm gonna sit here and tell you that bad things in this life happen. They don't happen for a reason. Ever. But I believe that there is a higher power who is always fighting against the narrative of all of those things. And here I am, telling you my story, putting myself out there in front of a bunch of people who think that 9/11 is something that was staged, was planned, was plotted out by your government. You're sitting there saying it day in and day out. And I'm going to tell you right now, you are walking down the wrong path. I'm putting myself out there and I'm saying this. You can sit there and be skeptical. all day long. But I want you to realize, I don't care what you call me. You cannot sit here and tell me that that day did not happen because terrorism exploited a system and literally took innocent lives out of this world. And these innocent lives are sitting here, hurting because of what has happened in America on that day. I just want to hammer that home. And I understand you're going to sit there and be like, evidence, evidence, evidence. What? Look, I don't know your skeptical argument, okay? I know the basis and the foundation for the things that you are saying, okay? You don't realize that these people who lost lives on the day of 9/11 lost lives because a system that was designed to protect them failed because it missed the mark. I want you to understand the pain and the tragedy that led to this point here. You can sit there all day and throw skepticism on me. I don't care. And for me, due to the fact that I've had to see this through the lens of tragedy, you are going to have to sit there and explain yourself and why you discredit the lives of people who have been lost, and why you would sit there and think that your own country would go off and do that to you, that your own country, again, would waste battle plans, attacking Iraq, waste intellectual property, put people at risk to fight for your freedom. That's what you're saying when you go off and say, this was planned, this was staged, this was This was planned, this was staged, X, Y, and Z. If you tell me anything different, I'm not going to listen. I'm always going to listen to tragedy and the things that have not had a chance to speak over anything that you're going to say to me. And it doesn't matter what you call me. It does not matter what you say. What matters is that you honor the lives. You honor the lives that have been lost. Fighting for your freedom. You honor the lives that have been lost in tragedy because of terrorism. I just wanted to say that before I go into this, because it has been emotionally heavy for me. I'm disappointed that people make the argument that lives in America were lost because the government planned it or staged it. You need to cut the rhetoric. You are taking a point that should unify us, and you're taking it and you're dividing us. You're dividing this nation. And again, you can sit here and tell me all the things that you want to, but I'm going to listen to tragedy over anything that you say to my face. Keep in mind, I'm definitely putting myself out there when I say this, okay? And it doesn't matter what you think about what I'm saying. Something called me to West Virginia first. So before you start throwing any rhetoric at me, I want you to realize that I never thought that I would be in a position where I would come online and talk about 9/11. me going through this journey, I never thought that I would come face to face with tragedy. I want you to take time to go to crash site yourself. Don't listen to me. I hope you believe me after this point. But sometimes you don't really understand things until you put them into perspective. I'm going to be collecting a rock from every state that I go to, and only the right people know the relevance behind why I am collecting rocks and why I will never finish collecting all of the rocks from every single state that I go to. I feel like I am being called to do so. And it does not matter what you tell me, but I will always sit here and never finish this. Never, ever, ever finish this in honor of the ability to continue forward with my life. And I hope that my story, which was not written by me, I don't think that I'm the one who set the course of the flight that I'm currently taking right now. I think it's directed by a higher power who understands division, who understands atrocity, who understands people being taken advantage of. Living their lives in innocence and vulnerability. You can never change my mind. Hopefully, this story is one step closer to healing a broken nation. I want this story to be one step closer to healing a broken nation, okay? I think that our government is trying to do the best that it can with what it's been given. Please do not dishonor or disrespect the lives that were lost in this story, okay? And you can throw all your conspiracy stuff at me, I don't care. I'm telling you this from the lens of tragedy. And doesn't matter what you tell me, I've been through things in my life and I've been spared. My life has been spared. In some situations, let me tell you, I hope this changes your perspective. And what I really want you to get is that terrorism really happened that day. People's lives who were just living their lives in innocence really lost their lives. Okay? Like all of these people. These people were really taken out by terrorism. Okay? Keep in mind, I'm telling you this story from the perspective of being called to West Virginia. I didn't choose to go there. Like, that's not where I wanted to go first. I hope this story compels you to go off and visit the Flight 93 and see it for yourself. Really come to a place of just sitting with yourself. And not only that, just sit in silence. Sit in silence. I want you to put yourself in the perspective of somebody who is sitting there trying to fight for their life. I want you to sit in the perspective of a leader who feels as if he missed the mark. The one who is in control of the situation. I want you to put that into the perspective of democracy, okay? And maybe I'm not wording it right, okay? I want you to visit Flight 93 and see for yourself. And I ask right now that in the process of you going and seeing it for yourself, that you experience something that makes you come to a realization that these people really died, and that these lives were taken away because of terrorism, and that these people fought back to try and take their lives back. They did. I want you to sympathize and empathize with a leader who lost control. I want you to sit there and sympathize and empathize with the people who try to fight back, okay? And I want you to sympathize and empathize with all of the people who still exist today, who your words may be hurting because of its insensitivity. I want you to understand that terrorism can be known, but you will never understand the depths to which somebody will do something, or anything relating to that. In honor of Unfinished, I've started my journey, but I feel like I really found it, and the things that need to be said on this journey in Pennsylvania. And because of the things that were left unsaid, because of that lack of knowledge, the things that will never be able to be finished because they were left unsaid, I'm going to collect these. Alright? Don't listen to me. Listen to a hometown hero, okay? This woman who died at Seneca Rocks. She is a real hero. A hero that has been lost, okay? The pilot from Flight 93. He is a hero for speaking up, although it never made it. Okay? And all of the people, okay, who decided to band together to try and pick up what had been taken away. Pick up a leader who had been taken away. Those are the real heroes. The ones who fought. the ones that may still be standing today and the ones that may not be standing today. Those are the heroes. Those are the people who are really sitting here making democracy what it is today. You do not dishonor and you do not disrespect. The time, the energy, and the initiative that these people took to sacrifice their lives for this country, the freedom that I do have, okay, to actually speak about my perspective and the things that I've experienced that have led me here today to have a conversation on the internet in front of people, okay? You just think whatever you want to think about me. I don't care. That's your freedom. I just hope that this is a turning point for you, and you can sit there and say, oh, well, that's not based off of evidence. I'm not listening to you. I'm listening to tragedy over anything that you're going to sit here and tell me. A country who sat there and put its own citizens' lives at risk, who wasted intellectual property to actually go off and fight against terrorism. That's who I'm listening to. I think that the American government is doing the best with what they have at a given circumstance, okay? With all due respect, I hope that you respect my opinion. I respect yours because it's your liberty, okay? Not a lot of countries get that, so be grateful. Please respect my liberty and my ability to speak, okay? I understand that there may be some other people who may see this from other countries who may not have the same liberties, okay? I'm grateful for my liberties. I'm grateful for the First Amendment, okay? This ability to have this conversation and say what I want. While you may think that whatever you want to think about me, my confidence is rooted in tragedy. And I can't believe I have to sit there and say that. Again, these are things that should have never happened. Here we go into Pennsylvania stuff, and please, for the last time, terrorism exploited a system in the government to kill almost 3,000 people that day. You can never really know what somebody will actually go off and do. You can only inference. And sometimes when you come to the realization of it, it's awful. Have a nice day. Alright? And realize that you have a nice day. Because there might be some people in this country who have lost people for you to have a nice day. That's all.